Babu in the streets, freak in the sheets. I think I paused the movie to look Hector in the eye as I was saying that. And then I'm like, I need to write this down.
Yeah, no, you did.
Better than any of the dialogue in the movie, perhaps?
Oh, God,
True.
yeah, man. Welcome to Reshoot, amateurs in no suits. Too many movies to explore. Ruthie, Hector, and Ed, laughter till the end. Let's see something never done before. Welcome, everyone, to, wow, I almost forgot the name of our own podcast.
Nice.
Reshoot, Amateur's Guide to Gooder Film. I'm your host, C-3PO, Hector.
I am Dio, Ruthie.
And we have Ed over here. Say hi, Ed.
Hello, I am Ed. Is that what Ed sounds like? I don't know.
This is Matt Shore from Made Up Movies. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? I'll be your special guest today, I guess. It's my job. I don't know why I say guess. I'm already
Ed's gone in Vegas for this movie. Yeah, Ed's gone in Vegas right now, and we thought it'd be fun to we had some free time, so it was like, hey, you want to...
Schedules aligned?
Yeah. Well, it started when I was just, like, getting upset about Batgirl news on Twitter, and I'm like, I need to talk about this! And you're like, all right, come on.
We just sidle up, like, hey, you want to join the podcast?
I was so annoying about that. It just shook me so hard. I was talking to my boss when the news dropped, and she, like, watched the streaming stuff, but not that much, so I was like, can you believe this bullshit?
Okay, so should we get into it?
Let's get into
Get into Batgirl. So, if you're completely uninformed, the internet was upset, really went crazy because I went the full gamut. I should say this. You'll see, if you go back and look at my tweets, you'll see that at first I was like, "Oh, I hear they've canceled the Batgirl movie," and I was like, "Who cares? They cancel movies all the time." I didn't realize at the time that the movie wasn't in pre-production. They weren't like putting up the sets and stuff. It was in post-production. It was in the editing suites. They had shot the entire movie. Michael Keaton's in it. Brendan Fraser's in it. You've got this new lead in it. Like, this is her first big movie. And they're just like, nope, we're shit canning it right now. And when I learned that, I was like, oh, this is why people are upset, right?
Yeah, and then it just got worse, because, like, and then the news it got leaked that, like, oh yeah, they're so I guess for more context, Warner Brothers and Discovery merged a while back.
Right.
And now we're starting to see the effects of it, and one of it was
their horrible labor.
Yeah, well, we don't know yet, because research has been weird. No, I get it, it's just the research has been weird, because, like, the first articles were, like, coming out for blood. They're firing 70% of the HBO Max.
I'm just salty that they got rid of Time Traveler's Wife, because I think the merger was like a big portion of that, and it was so good.
That was a good show.
I don't understand what's happening right now. I guess it's another one of those things where you're like, your concept of streaming and their success does not reflect the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's like when Netflix started to cut their animation, and then stats just came out this week that were like, Netflix is not meeting the demand for adult animation, and it was like, well, then what's happening? Is it just that it's expensive and it's cheaper to, like, put a SWAT team vest on Chris Pratt and make a movie in your backyard? Like, I don't understand what's happening. But because in my mind, I've just been like, wow, HBO Max is really killing it, and maybe that's because they're giving me access to stuff like the Batman very quickly, and maybe that's at a loss for them somehow because of just, like, the theater is still coming off of COVID and stuff. But, like, I don't know. I mean, I think what makes this crazy to me is just that they could have canceled it at any time. They had the script, right? Is the script bad, or is it just looks bad or badly directed or something?
They said the test screenings weren't good, but then I'm hearing other reports that it's like, yeah, Shazam 2 and the Batgirl had the exact same rating on the test screenings, but only Batgirl gets canceled?
That's weird.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like... because I was thinking, like, is it sexism? And it might be, but it's also like Shazam 1 was the only one of the few good DC EU, what do you call the
Right,
DC
right.
Universe
Yeah, this
movies that was actually well liked.
Okay, let's talk about what that earnings call thing said, because the guy who's in charge of WB was like, we want to have a 10-year plan. We want to, like, basically, it was really confusing because they're not like doing a new 52 clean slate. They're like, we want to take some aspects of what we've already done and move forward with that. And he made the big point. It's like, we're not going to release a film before it's ready. And I'm like, DC release, or Warner Brothers releases half baked shit like all the time. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many uh
yeah.
like Harry Potter fans even are like, what are these
Oh.
Fantastic Beasts movies? Like, what's going on with them? Why are they not, recapturing this magic? Why do you have to, like, watch them and be like, well, that part was kind of good? Like, it's like you don't hear the ringing
Breaking my
endorsements
heart,
that you did.
yeah. I completely forgot.
So
I
it's
always forget about Fantastic Beasts. It makes me so
me
upset.
too. And there's like 3 of them right now, and I'm just like,
The
how
third one just came out.
I'll be
I
honest,
don't.
I thought Percy Jackson was a much better book series than Harry Potter. Like, just down to its
There you go.
core.
I don't know much about those, but I just feel like it's weird that they're. I don't know if they're trying to say from this point forward we're not releasing bad movies, which is like, okay, good luck. No one wants to release. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a weird. No one sets out to make a bad movie, is the old cliche, but like, it just seems weird that, like, you stop it in post production. Like, if you want to still make money off of it, I don't know, charge $20 for it and make it like a $20 exclusive or something, and fans will flock to it. Like, they want to see that stuff.
$90 million they spent on
I
it.
I have a theory, and I didn't listen to the investor call, so you guys can tell me if this is an actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Are either of you familiar with the concept of the producers, the player of the movie?
right, right. We can make
Mm-hmm.
more money with a flop than with a hit. Kind of. They had some. Well, that's been the talk online, right? Is like some sort of tax loophole allows them
Yeah.
to recoup losses if they don't
Yes.
release it or something.
Yeah, so there's a similar concept in stocks, which I already knew about, and I'm assuming there's something like that in filmmaking, but I'm not fully sure. I probably should have actually done research. But point
Well,
being,
it's complicated because there's a lot of speculation because they're being a
yeah,
little bit clandestine about, like, why it's like it has to be some sort of money making, like,
yeah,
it has to be good business because it's not good entertainment. That's for
yeah.
sure.
So I say I have one theory, but I really have two. The first one is this: in stocks, if you lose a certain, like, if you lose your investment to a certain degree, like if you go like over 100% lost of your
Right.
investment, you can get a tax credit. So it doesn't count again. It doesn't count against you. It just goes straight to you. But you have to recoup. Like, you have to lose a significant portion. It will never ever be profitable. I don't know if that's the same in film. I'm kind of assuming not, if this is the case. My second theory is, I know, like, a lot of filmmaking, there's like unions and stuff, but then there's also like actor
Yeah.
contracts. Part of me wonders, I know actors can get big stuff with box office weekend, like, profits.
Right.
I'm
Right.
wondering if they were doing the calculations and they figured, like, if we pay this actor this much money and we have to like recoup all our losses, it's not gonna be worth it. You
But
know what I mean?
wasn't it always headed for streaming though? Wasn't that the idea?
I've heard mixed because, like, I remember hearing, like, yeah, I heard it was originally meant for streaming, and then they're gonna bring it to theaters. My other thing is, and I think this is a good point that you just made, Ruthie, is like, I think because remember the whole HBO Max debacle when the movies were coming to streaming almost immediately during the height of the
Right.
pandemic, and they
Right.
were like, "Oh, our contracts."
Like Scarlett
Right.
Johansson, she made a big stink about it. That's what made me
Right.
think about it.
Because it's like you're supposed to get a cut of the box office as part of this deal you made, and now
Right.
suddenly your movie isn't even part of that. So it's like you're getting screwed out of the money, right?
Yeah,
Like with
So,
Pixar.
yes, exactly. So it's like there is that aspect of it, but I wonder, I don't know. Yeah, it has to be like, if what the tax thing makes sense to me to a certain extent. I don't know the details of it, but it would make sense if, like, it's going into post production. It's a superhero movie, so there's gonna be stuff they need to add in post production, right? Any CGI added to background shots, any, like, a flex or bombs going off or whatever, flames and stuff. Like it's Batman, so there's not like a crazy amount of powers, but Firefly is one of the villains in it, so there's probably going to be a lot of fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're like, if we spend any more than we've already spent on this movie, we can't, apply this tax thing. But if we, just throw it in the trash can now, maybe we can get away with it. It's a lot of speculation, but it's weird. It's weird.
Ruthie's making a face, audience.
Sorry. To give context, I just came back from a work trip, and in the work trip, I was doing a warehouse tour. I have a very boring job, but I remember...
she loves it.
I enjoy it. Nobody likes hearing me talk about pumps and air compressors, but I can. But we were doing the warehouse tour, and the guy was talking to us. The warehouse, they have gas pumps, like, at gas stations. It's what we do. He was telling us, like, if the box doesn't come correctly, the product's damaged. And we're like, well, why don't they put packaging in the boxes? And he said, somebody at this vendor, I won't drop him because I like my job, finance guy, he did the math. He said that they'll save $30 million in savings by not having the padding to protect the product. But what they didn't account for was customers are going to get pissed off because they're going to get scratched up dispensers and they have to replace them, and that costs like half of what they're saving. But they're still making a net 15, so they won't go back to it.
I feel like that's all of modern business, though, right? It's like you buy a product that was like good 5 years ago, and you get like a frozen pizza, and now it's like literally made of the cardboard it comes on, and you're like, this used to taste like not 100% better, but like 10% better, and you're like,
it's because some guy was
like, right. It's like, did you know that if we make crappier products, we could save so much money? It's like, yeah, everyone knows that. The reason people bought the products is because they worked. Not, it's like, it's just like the worst, like Ebenezer Scrooge penny pinching and like such.
You don't need coal for the fire.
I know, right? It's just like, why? It's like, yeah, we know you guys want to make the most money possible, but like, especially when everyone's talking on social media, it's like, I don't know, maybe they're just like, well, if we all screw customers over, then there's no place they can go. If we all agree to do it, I don't know.
There's some industries, especially the one that I'm working in, where you can tell that the people who are making the decisions are not on social media yet. Like, they're all like old fogies. And so, like...
You sure you want to say that? What if your boss listens to this?
She's not one of the old fogies.
Okay.
But, like, the CEO before mine, like, he was super against, like, working from home. And now the new CEO's in. He's like, yeah, work from home. I don't care. But, like, I don't know. They don't know that people know this now, so they're still doing it. And they're going to keep doing it until they're dead at their office in 80 years.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't surprise me. I mean, like...
Change is coming. It's just very slow.
I know, it's too slow, and it's also like the old machines have all the power in some percent. I don't want to get on a political rant, but like back to Batgirl, they clearly have an idea of what they want to do moving forward. Theoretically, this like, we want to put together a plan more like what Marvel is doing. In theory, that sounds good. But it's also like, but we also want to keep, the Flash movie in production. Like, if you're going to cancel a movie,
yeah,
like how good do they think the Flash is going to be with all this stuff about Ezra in the news? Like,
it's gotten worse.
It got worse. Like a few hours ago. No, a few hours ago, it jumped to like possible. There is a mother and child in the cult that he has in Vermont that no one can locate.
He's a cult?
In Vermont, yeah. Oh, I think it's from an Airbnb is what I'm hearing, but that could have been a joke. But like, the actual news is that there's like a mother and children missing. No one can find them.
And he's already been, they have an arrest warrant out in Vermont for burglary already, and it's like,
Yeah, it's...
Police are looking to locate a 25-year-old mother and her 3 young children who have been living at Ezra Miller's Vermont farm. Oh my God. What is happening? What is happening?
I know.
They had a mental breakdown.
They're pulling a literal they/them.
Oh, god damn it. God damn it. Fuck.
Matt, have you heard of They/Them?
That's a new horror movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and I believe the killer is gender fluid. That that's the
Okay.
pun is
No, it,
based.
it takes place at a conversion camp.
Oh, it takes place at a conversion camp.
Oh, gotcha.
That's the pun.
Well, I
I
mean,
knew there
I
was a
don't
pun
think.
in the title.
Yeah, they're just gonna. I mean, it's just like, why? How did it get to that point? Like, how did that situation get to that point? I don't understand. I guess it's one of those things where you got enough money, you make enough money on Justice League or whatever, and you're just like, I can do whatever I want now, and you start to. But that's scary. Like, that goes beyond, like, I don't know, Kanye level recklessness to like active the cult stuff and like kidnapping and child endangerment. Like,
I mean,
that's like
Kanye's
Charles
I
Manson level
Kanye, I think,
stuff.
is
like,
a
could we,
step behind.
no, okay, that's fine. Okay, I was like, don't get the Yeezy fans on us,
No, I'm
please. We'll never
Hey,
survive.
I will say this. I am a Yeezy fan. I like 2 or 3 of his albums are my favorites. I don't like all the recent stuff. I'm not like. I don't like. I wish he could find some sort of stability that would allow him to focus on what makes his beats and his lyrics so great when they are great. But like, I don't like these long meandering I sold you a magic cube to listen to my album on bullshit. Like, it's like, I just, like, when he's my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, amazing album. Like, Yeezus, great album. I mean, like, it's he's really talented, but it's again the situation where it's just like, when you've reached a certain level of success, who's that person who's going to be like, you need to stop this behavior, or you need to get help? If you don't want the help and you've got all the money in the world and power, like,
Who can stop you? Yeah.
no one man should have all that power.
No,
Listen to yourself.
nice,
Listen
nice.
to yourself. The voice
Playing the
within you,
long
Ray.
con.
I mean, Kanye. I am all the Sith and all the Jedi and all the Yesuses. I am everything.
I am all the baby Yodas.
I am
What?
all
I
the
don't
Baby
know.
Yoda merchandises. I am the Babu Fricks. I am the needless droid toys stuffed into this movie for some reason.
Okay, but Dio was cute.
I don't get it. There's like, well, I mean, I get that Dio design wise is cute, but I'm like, oh man, this is really getting into it. But it's just like, okay, should we switch topics?
Yeah,
We might want to,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We're switching.
I feel like that was a good segue.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
our main
the-
topic, would you like to go ahead and lead us in? I mean, it's your show. I don't know why I'm talking right now.
Okay, so we're doing Rise of Skywalker, everyone. If you can see from the title that we're gonna put up in the episode.
I don't think it's going to be Star Wars like how I named the.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
My brother called it that once.
Star Wars.
That's
Yeah, I took plot notes because I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could understand what the narrative flow of this movie actually was.
I took a
Because
similar
for-
approach.
Because for a Star Wars movie, usually it's like not complicated, right?
No.
It's usually really focused. But this one is kind of, it has less story and more plot than a lot of them.
Because it's trying
Like-
to make, because it's
'Cause it's
trying
not
to
only
appease the fanboys.
Well, because it's
who
not only
hated
trying to
8.
tell its own story, it's also trying to shit on the other two.
Or well, the other one.
Especially on 8, like because I liked
Yeah.
8. Yeah, it's just like
I mean, I like Last Jedi as well. I like Force Awakens. Okay,
yeah,
I mean, I know this is. I mean, it's Star Wars, so it's always divisive. I understand why people. I now understand more so than ever why people don't like The Last Jedi, because I love The Last Jedi, but I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think there are
Exactly.
scenes, no matter who you are, whether you love it or hate it, that you're like, I could have done without that. And it's
Can't
not
write.
always the same thing for the same person. Most people are like, that part's annoying. And some people are like, oh, I really like that. But like, what I like about Last Jedi is that it felt new, it felt fresh, it broke from tradition. And those are the same things that people who are all about the formula don't like about it. So I had to accept that those people aren't wrong. They don't have bad taste. Their expectations were actively denied, whereas mine were my expectations were low, theirs were high. They didn't get what they want, and I did, and I have to like sort of reconcile that stuff. But this one, my expectations were like pretty high, and I felt that like jilting of like,
Yeah.
because my overall thesis, and I think we'll this plot summary as we go into it, like it feels like there's no forest for the trees. There's like a million trees, and I don't know what the shape of the forest is at all. It's like
I
there's
mean,
a
it's all on fire
million.
anyway, so.
It's like hair plugs, but for trees. Like, you don't have a hairline, you have hair plugs.
Okay, I'm trying to follow you on this.
Well, you remember,
No,
okay,
you're
season one
right.
Office?
You're right, because it's like the story that's there is patchy, right? It's like
Oh, okay.
it's patchy, and instead of like, well, I don't know how this word translates with plugs or whatever, but like
I just had a weird transition.
the idea that there's too much going on in this movie. There's too many individual ideas, and each of them get like 5 seconds to say their piece and get in and out. It's not that Dio is bad. It's that I don't know anything about Dio. I only learn his name at like 30 minutes to the end of the movie,
Yeah,
basically. And
yeah.
it's like, okay, well, why did we wait that long? And there's like an urgency with the dialogue where like half the dialogue is uh,
We don't have enough
like sentence
time.
fragments. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always like Knights of Ren, ghouls, and it's like that's all we know about them. And it's like if they're a big character and they have a big fight, like give us like a sentence, like not just two phrases.
The worst part
Uh,
is like Ryan Johnson didn't want to completely get rid of the Knights of Ren. That's why he did the guards in the big fight scene in 8.
right,
'Cause it's like,
right.
oh, okay, I trust that whoever's gonna take over can probably think of a better use, and like they're cool enough that they deserve another movie. And then J.J. Abrams, who came up with the Knights, is like, fuck that. Sorry, I don't like J.J. Abrams. That's gonna come very much across like,
I This movie made me dislike him.
Yes.
I like a couple of his movies a lot. Like I like Super 8 a lot. I think that one I liked it a little when I first saw it, but I think that like in JJ's biggest thing is he's constantly aping Spielberg in like every way he can. He wants to be Spielberg, and he kind of almost gets there at certain points of Super 8. Like the stuff with the kids feels very Goonies or ET. It feels like accurate to how kids are to a certain extent. And like the second half of Force Awakens, I thought pretty good. I like Kylo as a character. I like these actors he picked for his main three. I think they're great. I think the parts that bore me in Force Awakens are when it's like, me personally, it's weird though, because like Han Solo in Force Awakens is not my favorite part. I feel like he's bored to be there. He gets so much screen time and he doesn't seem to like it, but he's actually might be my favorite part of Rise of Skywalker, because he does a pretty good job in his one scene when he's talking to Kylo on the like the ocean broken Death Star thing, and it seems like I don't know what changed for him. Maybe it was Carrie's death, but it seems like he's like, I'm gonna give an emotional performance. Whereas in
Mhm.
it felt like his Blade Runner performance too in Force Awakens, where he's like, "Well, I'm here." Isn't that great? And it's like it's great because it's you, but it's like I wish you cared as much about this as you do about Indy.
yeah,
Um,
that's the
Yeah.
whole reason he did it. He was promised Indy 5 if he did Force Awakens.
Right. And it's like, I get that, but it's like, we love you so much. Just give us like 10% more effort. And I feel like in this, he saved all his effort for this movie that I felt like wasn't worth it. But like, there is a 20-minute part of this movie that I think is really good. And then everything else around it, I feel like I am just so frustrated.
Is it the Death Star scenes?
It's from the point at which Harrison Ford appears to the planning of the run on Exegol, and I think
Okay. Yeah, I
through the
see that.
Luke scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like one of the scenes that feels most like Star Wars to me is when they're all on the planet and they're planning the thing, and they're like, we have a very clear goal. We have to take out this thing. We have to do this in this certain amount of time. It does, even this, my favorite part of the movie does contain it's like, we should do what Holdo did. No, that'll never work. It's just like, why are you? Why are you shitting on the old movie so aggressively? I
Because the
think that's like one of
fanboys
the.
hated it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, why does he have to have those conversations out loud? And I feel like the Chewie getting the medal thing is like endemic of that too. It's like, this
Yeah.
only matters to you if you've had this conversation online. If you're just like my parents watching it, they're like, I don't get it. I'm gonna have to Google this. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
either include that in the movie as part of the narrative. Don't like include it as part of the meta narrative of people having conversations online. It's a
Yeah.
really weird way to make a movie.
Yeah, I felt
Um,
like Maz's character, she was like such a, I don't want to say I don't know how to phrase it, but like her character was emblematic of that in the first movie and in the third movie. Cuz like her role cuz she was the one who gave Chewie the medal. She was the one who's she's using all the strength she has left. And I love
unlading
Lupita Nyong'o.
exposition.
Yeah. And in the first one it was like, "Oh, well I have the lightsaber. How did I get it? I'll tell you later." I don't know, it's just like
It.
At least she
Yeah.
felt like she had something to do in that first movie. It wasn't like
yeah.
Yeah.
that. That sequence actually marks. I felt like, because like throughout the beginning of the movie of Force Awakens, and this is not about Force Awakens, but I feel like after when the cantina gets destroyed, and everything from that point on is like my favorite part of that movie. But like in this, it feels
She
like
felt shoehorned
everybody
in.
gets that. It's like,
Yeah.
well, also Rose is here. It's like, Rose, don't you want to come on the exciting adventure? No, I have to stay here and look at screens. It's my choice. It's like, why did you write it so it was her choice to get paid less than everybody else? Like, it just sucks. Like, I understand why people might not like Rose, but like, it just
I'm gonna
felt
do
like
the
a
group
weird.
project by myself.
Because I don't want to get more death threats from fans, but I'm contractually
Right?
obligated to be in this movie. I,
Oh my
I,
god.
I loved Rose in The Last Jedi, and I tried to write her into my fixes because I love her. But my problem with her, and yeah, I might get into it later, but I'll just say it now. My problem with her is there's a big three, and I think a
Yeah,
big reason why Rose was in Last Jedi was because we didn't have the big three together. So she kind of became a stand-in three. So when you added Rose, there's no room for a four. It was a big three. It's
I
always been a big
okay.
three.
It's we should get into the
The
plot,
actual, yeah.
because I have nothing but complaints, and one of those complaints is that now that we have the big three together, oh, suddenly they have the most unclear relationships because
Ugh.
they've spent so little time together in the
together.
past movie.
Yeah, canonically
And so
in the
they have these
movies.
really forced relationships, like Ray and Poe being like, we're angry at each other for some reason. BB-8 is dusty. And it's like, does that fucking matter right now? Like, BB-8 looks fine. Stop being fake upset about this. Like, what is happening?
I feel like they would
And
be
like,
catty with each other, but not like that. No,
no,
like
everyone's
cattier
just
headphones
angry.
kind of catty.
Yeah.
like they could have a relationship that's like Leia and Han-esque, because they sort of like could fill those roles in a way, but
Mhm.
in a more repartee sense, not in a
Yeah,
forced, like, because like again, that's like a, oh, they have some sort of rivalry, and it never comes up again.
yeah.
It's never
Yeah.
important at any point in the movie.
What were you gonna say, Han?
So,
Sorry.
again, I just want to make sure we're all getting into pace. So, I had an idea. We can either do a plot synopsis, or the fact that this movie was pretty successful, we can just forego the plot synopsis, since a lot of people have, like a good majority of people have seen this
If
movie.
you watch, if you're listening to this, I think you know. I think you know. I think you're in the know.
Okay, can I do what I think is the plot, and then you guys correct me if I'm wrong?
Do it.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
I am not sure at this rate. Okay.
Were you in a drunken stupor when you watched it? Because I think we were
No,
without the alcohol.
I was completely focused. I watched this like a hawk over 2 sittings, like very militantly.
Oh, dang, dude.
Um, I was like, I want to do a good job on this show.
No, thank
And
you.
I've immediately disrupted the flow of what we're supposed to do. I
You're
apologize
fine.
to
You're
fans of
fine.
the show. If you want to hear more disruptions like this, that's all Made Up Movies is. We discussed that before we started. It's all tangential. It's all
It's
me
amazing.
ruining the show.
It's
Uh,
they have
Heist
a
to
lot of
coast.
Joker moments.
It's a lot of Joker moments. All my fixes are Kylo should be Joker, and also Ray should be Joker. It's like, I think you might have brain damage. I'm sorry. Did a horse kick you when you were a kid? What's wrong with you? Okay, so the dead speak, right? First
Oh
things first, the dead
God.
speak. So the Emperor is back. Let's be clear here. Somehow Palpatine returned. The greatest line in cinema history. So the Emperor is back. He immediately reveals that he's back through a message that goes out galaxy wide. Our heroes have a task now. The three heroes from this new series must find the Exegol where he's located and stop his fleet that he threatens in this message. So they go to find a dagger that will find a wayfinder that will find Exegol.
Two MacGuffins
And
already.
I know that's okay. That's a whole thing. It's like, why do we need to find the thing to find the thing? There's a thing in the deserts that is just sort of crazy, and then Ray is having some. This is where it gets really murky. Chewie gets captured. They think he's dead. This plot point is just like the messiest thing. Okay, Ray thinks Palpatine killed her parents, so she vows to kill him. They go rescue Chewie right before that, and Kylo says, Ray, you're a Palpatine. She's like, you know what? Palpatine killed my parents. So they go to the ocean planet to find the beacon. I'm already confusing myself.
Which is on the Death Star. No.
No, first they go to
They go to the desert. They get the dagger.
Yeah, they get the dagger,
Chewie
but then they
gets
lose the
captured
dagger.
with the dagger. Yes. Yeah. So they go to Chewie to get the dagger.
No, they don't know Chewie's there. The only person who could read the ancient Sith illegal language was C-3PO. Right, he legally couldn't reveal the location, so they took him to a jailbreaker. So they have to go to Carrie
Russell. Right. And Babu. And they're there. So, okay. They go to the desert. They get the dagger. C-3PO reads it. He commits it to memory. Because of some old Republic law, he's not allowed to speak Sith. They go to Carrie Russell planet, which is like a cantina planet, I guess. And
it's like a slum, I thought.
Babu Frick
best character.
Basically mind warps C-3PO with some hacking, and they get the message, which points to a wayfinder. But at the same time, they figure out that Chewie's alive because Rey has a feeling, I guess.
She can sense him in the ship, that because Kylo's ship is hovering over the planet, and
she's got enough. The dyad with Kylo, so it kind of like works as an extender.
Right. So they go and rescue Chewie. She thinks the dagger's still going to be important, so she goes to get it. She confronts Kylo. Kylo says, "You're a Palpatine." She doesn't know what to think and is worried that she's going to turn to the dark side because she had a vision. She believes Palpatine is responsible for her parents' death, vows to kill him. They go to this ocean planet to find the beacon. The dagger lines up with the wreckage of the Death Star somehow. Kylo and Rey fight. Leia dies or sacrifices herself to reach Ben's heart, which allows Rey to win the fight.
By killing him.
By killing him, but then she heals him.
She didn't kill him. She just stabbed him. He wasn't fully dead.
Through the fucking stomach. Like, he's dead. He's gonna die.
He would have died.
Bled out. Yeah, he would have died. But as he's dying, she heals him. And they set up this thing where if you can use the Force to expend some of your own life force to save someone else, which comes up later. They discover... I thought this was a lot simpler when I wrote it down, and it's so complicated.
Doing a synopsis
so Leia
is hard.
dies. Han appears as a Force ghost.
I thought it was just a memory.
Yeah, I assumed it was just like a Kylo thing.
Like Kylo just
having
it's imagining his dad to kind of be his conscience.
Oh, okay. I guess it could be.
Because he's not
in my head, I'm
blue.
like, why does he have the Force?
Because he's not blue.
Oh, right. You're right. He's not blue.
And he's not canonically a Force user.
I think he was. Right. I think they hinted
at
it was
sensitive, but not. Yeah.
So, you're right. He's having. I guess he's Han in some form or other appears to Kylo, who's now Ben. He changes his heart basically to make him Ben again, I guess. And Rey takes Ben's ship to Luke's exile planet, fearing that she's going to become Darkseid. She meets up with Luke's ghost, who inspires her to go to Exegol. Meanwhile, the other guys, Finn uh, and Poe, become co-generals together since Leia's gone. The Emperor's fleet can now destroy planets, so they need to come up with a plan to stop it. There's a big fight on Exegol. Rey faces the Emperor. Kylo comes and help. The Emperor notices they're a dyad and becomes like super powered by stealing their dyad power. Rey almost dies, but then becomes inspired by a bunch of Jedi voices and comes back and uses like crosses two lightsabers to reflect his lightning and kill him. The rebels are saved by a fleet of their supporters from around the galaxy. Rey is left like blasted by the force of destroying the Emperor. Kylo sacrifices his own life force to heal Rey. They smooch, but then he dies, and Leia's body disappears, implying that she could fully become one with the Force now that he is saved. And that's sort of the end of the movie.
And then,
And
they
then
bury.
it cuts to Tatooine.
They bury the lightsabers.
Right. And she's, yeah, who are you? What's your last name, though, you asshole? Tell me your last name. Why do you always withhold your last name?
Red Skywalker.
And she's
You forget the
decided
part
that
where
she's
where Rey disrespected Anakin's legacy by burying his lightsaber in fucking sand. You can like mentally hear him screaming, like, "No! I hate you!" I might be quoting a few prequel memes this episode. I'm not going to apologize.
I mean, Matt just
I
like
think I've seen some of that, but yeah, totally.
yeah,
Okay, but that's basically it. And there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in there. But if you're trying to find a coherent plot, Emperor's back. They need to find the thing to find the other thing. They do. Rey is worried she's going to become the dark side. Finds out she's a Palpatine, which only sort of matters. And then she's inspired and saves the day, sort of.
yeah.
I do have likes. I did
Would
write
you like
down
to go
likes.
first?
Do you want to go first?
I've just talked a lot. Why don't you guys go first, since this is your show?
Okay. Ruthie or me? Which one do you want to do?
I think I have the shorter of the two. You said you had.
No, I had it. God damn it! This is really fucking
You told
long.
me you had like 7
I didn't realize
pages last night.
No. I wrote like 2 pages. I wrote like,
In
okay.
delirium.
I'm gonna let you guys know a little. Okay, audience, I'm gonna let you know a secret. There's like 2 or 3 ways I write reshoots. It's either little bit by little bit as it comes to me, procrastination, oh shit, and I write a little, or procrastination, I'm gonna get possessed by the ghost of a writer and I'm just gonna fucking make a whole
Was
bunch.
it Charles Dickens this time? Who were
It
you
wasn't
possessed
Charles
by?
Dickens. I think it was a mix
Qui-Gon.
of. It was Qui-Gon.
He's
True.
speaking through you. He works in mysterious ways.
He works in mysterious ways. All right. Okay, Ruthie, you can go first.
Okay, yeah. I promise it'll be quick. Just for context, Hector, Ed, and I, we wanted to do the whole trilogy, like as a whole, just clean it up, polish it. So I think Hector and I, but it might just be me. I don't know. You can do what you want. I wanted to challenge myself. I am just going to fix this movie. I'm just going to take what I have. Nothing will change from the last 2 movies.
That's the hard
myself.
part. That's the bigger challenge, right? Is like take where you left off, and that's sort of what I did too. Because
Same.
Because like to go from clean slate, you can do whatever you want in your own Star Wars trilogy. There's so much fun that could be had, and there's so many ways it can go wrong. But like saying like, okay, where we left things, that's what my fixes are too. But
yeah. I did want to. If I'm doing a whole trilogy though, I will do Darth Banks.
Yeah, I think both of us have.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
yeah,
then,
of course.
I'm not like a big Star Wars fan, but for some reason, Star Wars fans gravitate towards me. So a friend of mine, I'm married one. A friend of mine in middle school, she was a huge Star Wars fan, and she told me the plot of Knights of the Old Republic too. And I thought I had like completely glazed over, but then Hector told me like, no, you didn't. That is Knights of the Old Republic too. So if you hear it, I haven't played it. It's not me ripping from it. It was somewhere
Gotcha.
rattling. Yeah.
The reason I love Episode 8, everyone, is because Ryan Johnson said it was inspired by Knights of the Old Republic, and I can clearly see it, and I fucking love 2. 2 is like one of the best games I've ever played, just story-wise.
I loved that game until the very end when it was like they ran out of money or something, and you're on that planet with the Rancors, and it's just like, what happened?
Someone didn't play the mod.
No, I didn't. I've never played it. I've never played the fixed version of it. So I've only played the
Oh.
original version where I'm like, why did the best game ever become suddenly like like before PayPal? They're like, send us $15 to fix this. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Sounds like you need to treat yourself with that mod.
Yeah, I do. I've never played it on PC. I think I had it on Xbox.
The
when
Switch
it
version now
originally-
has the mod, actually.
Oh,
Officially.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Although the
cool.
game's a glitchy mess, wait a little bit. It's really the port was not good, but
Well, they're
it
doing
technically has the mod.
remakes, aren't they? Theoretically.
That got pushed back because they just the two of the biggest designers of the game were fired.
that's always a great sign. Love that.
Yeah, I was looking
Yeah,
forward to
I
it.
don't know.
Okay, sorry,
Alright.
Ruthie, didn't mean to distract you.
No worries. Without further ado, my actual likes. Top of the list, Babu Freak. I don't know.
Okay.
He spoke to me. He's more not Babu Freak. He's Babu Freak in my heart. You know. And as much shit as I'm gonna give the main trilogy, the big three in this trilogy, I did like the scene when Rey is like, I'm gonna go off and go find the stabby dream evil knife. When Finn comes up and he's like, yeah, you're going alone. You're going alone with friends. I liked that. I liked the sentiment behind it. I liked kind of
Yeah.
the way that it was done. It's like what you were saying about the Han scene. That was my Han scene. I liked that.
Yeah.
I wish there was more of that energy, but there's not, and I hate it.
I know.
I liked Dio. I think he's very cute. There was a little bit of like subtle character building where you could see the life that he lived, and I know it was really cheesy, like, oh, he was abused by his past master, but we're good. That means we have to be good to droids. But I don't know. I thought
They've
it was-
already showed it in previous movies, so I could kind of believe it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's trite. It's been done before. I just eat it up. It's yum. You know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what's there. I just feel like a lot of elements of this movie, I feel like it happens real fast. You
Yeah.
don't get a lot of time to dwell on any of these nice little moments, or I would like more time to dwell on any little moments. And like, you could probably cut 40% of this movie and just expand what's the rest of it just a little bit by like 4 minutes, and like
Yeah.
you would have a stronger movie. I think that's sort of
100% agree.
one of my
For sure.
ideas.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head. But like, I don't know. I like Dio. I like that he talked about consent. I think that he is amazing.
Makes sense.
And my last like, and it's more of a question than a like, but is it a like if I like the premise of a lot of the stuff, but not the execution, like even a little bit?
Kind of like what Matt
Yeah.
just said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not like all these ideas are bad. It's that
There's too many.
there's so many ideas per like 30 seconds. It's like those are some of my dislikes is like just under that theme is like we get like 3 competing ideas so quick together that you're just like, oh, how do I process this? It's
You
very
get
difficult.
whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like something gets introduced and it might be interesting, but then it's like it doesn't become important. So you're like, why did we
Mhm.
even waste a second on it? Like, if we were that pressed for time.
Or like,
I don't know.
there's a problem. There's a problem. Yes, problem. Here's the answer. Here's the answer. Like, the answer's solved. Now, next problem. I'm not even,
Yeah.
like, my head's not
Yeah.
around the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot of my dislikes. My other dislike we haven't necessarily touched on, but I guess I'm about to poke it with a stick. I hate what they did with the big 3. What little character development that was in the first 2 movies, gone. Gone are the good, like, little Rey is a scavenger, she's new to things, she gets excited. Gone is, like, Finn kind of trying to figure out where he is with the world. Gone is Poe, like, being kind of like suave pilot guy. Oh, no. They're catty for no reason. Finn's only line is, Rey! Poe, I don't know, he's just there. Rose is, like, standing off to the side, like, don't worry, I got this. You're not gonna
Don't
see
send me hate mail,
again.
please.
Yeah,
Don't
Please
right.
send
don't
me death
hate
threats.
me. I could never hate her, but yeah. Oh, I hated it so much. And like there's a lot of like parts where you should feel like tension, like the part where like C3PO, like he's gonna get his memory wiped, but he chooses not to, or he chooses to go through with it for his friends. But they've been shit talking him the entire movie, so there's no emotional like, oh no, and then he's like, oh hello, and they're like, oh he's back, and
I think that moment, though, Anthony Daniels does a good job
Oh
delivering
yeah.
that I'm
he
taking
did a
one
great
last look
job.
at my friends. And it's like, I think that was in the trailer, or at least one of the trailers for it. And I'm like, it's delivered so well that it almost gives me like little happy Star Wars movie chills where I'm like, I
Hmm.
wish that had more better stuff to support it, because it's like, yeah, it is like,
Yeah.
well, it's like,
It
of
made
course he's got a backup. He's a droid. Like, of course R2 is gonna, like, even if you try to mislead me on it, it's like, okay, and you're right. It's like the whole bit of like all of these movies is always been like 3PO, stop getting in the way, or shut up, or whatever. And so it's like, of course we love you, but like at the same time, I also like 3PO when he's being like confused and doesn't get the situation. So it's like the
mhm.
idea of him losing his memory isn't high stakes to me, because it's like he just met most of these people too, and like you could probably R2 could fill him in. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not that big of a deal.
for me, it was like these guys have been such huge, unbearable assholes to him, and he still calls them friends. Like, it just makes them seem
Yeah,
so much worse. Like, they
yeah.
seem like the droid abusing shitheads.
I will
Well,
give the movie
like you said, they were
this.
mean to each other too.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
they're mean to everybody, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyways, what were you saying,
Sorry,
Mike?
just quickly, I will give the movie this. I'm not been the biggest C3PO fan, like from the beginning. He was my least favorite character growing up.
Yeah.
This is the one movie that completely changed me on him. So I will give the movie that credit.
Yeah, it was a refreshing C3PO experience.
I'd
Yeah,
argue he was like the heart of the movie.
Do you think it's because this is the best C3PO movie, or just that the rest of the movie is so bad and he's consistent? Like,
It
because
might
I
be.
couldn't tell, because he doesn't seem like he's more or less annoying. And I think his peak annoyingness is for me anyway at the end of Attack of the Clones, when he's like, I'm beside myself, oh my head, and he's like making puns the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, get out of here. But like
Mhm.
in this one, I'm like, eh, at least you're here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
at least you're doing what you do.
Yeah.
Like,
We
you're
have one
consistent
normal
with your
thing.
character. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
feel
I don't
I also
know.
have a soft spot for like the butt monkeys a lot of times. So like the fact that he was a butt monkey might have just softened me up.
Butt
And
monkeys.
Like when they take the butt of the jokes.
like, yeah. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I thought that was like a Star Wars creature, like nerf herders or something. I was like, there are butt monkeys in this? Are
I
they like
wouldn't be
Minox?
surprised. Jazz is literally called
Uh,
Jizz in Star Wars, so I wouldn't be
I know,
surprised.
jizz. That's always been insane to me.
It is.
Uh,
I'm so immature. But I think another thing that endeared me to it was when we were rewatching this. It was either earlier that day or the night before. We've been rewatching the Cartoon Network Clone Wars show, and the
sure,
episode
yeah,
that we watched, it was a C3PO and R2 episode, and we were like shitting on it at first, but then it actually got funny. So like we were expecting like that first. I don't know. I might have been subconsciously expecting like the first half where it was a really shitty cartoon episode where like you have to flanderize him to get any kind of characterization.
yeah,
Honestly, those two big things, like the characters and the plot is a mess. Those are my every dislike. It stems off of that.
yeah.
So I guess I just have to dive into my fixes, and
Okay,
I want to try and keep this as close to the original plot because you don't have to do a lot of work to make this an actual watchable movie. I wanted to show off. I don't know.
Okay, no, no. If you can fix what J.J. Abrams messed up, like cobbled together, that'd be great.
Am I being
fix in
cocky?
as few
Yes.
cuts as possible. Yeah,
Yes.
I want to hear it, because like, yeah, mine is almost a. I tried to use a lot of the parts, but there's some stuff where I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
If I get angry enough, I do a full rewrite. I've noticed, and this is one of those
This
times.
is one of those. Yeah, he was texting me last night, like, "Oh man."
She was gone on a business trip up
Yeah.
until this morning, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I just
Anyway,
got back. Anyways, beginning of the movie. Palpatine, not a clone. Palpatine is a droid who looks like, in my mind, I'm picturing like a dark C3PO, and I will refer to him as such. But he's a droid who has downloaded the mind of Palpatine because Exegol is not necessarily like the planet of the Sith. It's the library of the Sith. Like, have you guys seen Avatar? Well, I know you've seen Avatar, but have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No.
Okay. So in the second season, they go to this giant desert where there is a hidden library under the sand, and it's like this secret library of the spirit world. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for. It's if you've heard of the show Warehouse 13, another kind of inspiration. Put that on the
Can I
mood
ask
board.
a quick clarification question?
Absolutely.
Palpatine is a clone? Or
Yes,
is
and canonically,
is he his resurrected zombie?
they took it from
'Cause-
the old. and I got
Because I thought he was a zombie because he's like falling apart.
the
If he
movie
was a
doesn't make
clone,
it.
why isn't he in better
It's-
shape, and why does
so-
he need
Yeah.
a machine?
Oh, I can explain this. I can explain this.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm a
okay.
huge
Go
Star Wars
Star
lord.
Wars fan.
So, in the old legends, Jedi could not be cloned. Force users could not be cloned successfully. With all the midichlorians and shit, it just made everything hard. It mess them up. They go insane. Force Unleashed 2 has a whole thing on that. They kept that canon somewhat. The idea canon. So Mandalorian. Have you seen Mandalorian?
Yes.
Do
I
you
haven't
remember
watched
how
Obi-Wan, but I've watched Mando and Book of Boba Fett.
That's all I have to see. So, Mandalorian has been confirmed to be trying to bridge the gap between 6 and 7,
Mm-hmm.
and the prequel trilogy, original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy. Did you notice that Moff Gideon,
The bad guy.
the bad guy, Giancarlo
Yeah,
Esposito's
Breaking Bad.
character,
Yeah.
he only wanted the blood of Grogu. I think he only wants Grogu's blood to be able to find a way to clone Palpatine, because they're trying to figure out that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens is going to happen. What I'm sensing from this, because I know it was in like a like those Star Wars dictionaries that explain like more of the
Right.
lore. They did say that Palpatine was a clone. His son, the one that he killed, that Rey's
Yeah.
parents, is also a clone. Because clones, if you see Clone Wars, are individual. They're individual people. Yes, they're clones, but they're individuals.
Right.
Yeah.
In
That
the
makes
old,
sense.
and I think what they were inspired by is in the old canon, Palpatine would have cloned like younger, fresher bodies of him, but without like a soul. So as soon as
If he died, his main body, he would just body hop into the young guy.
Right. He uses them as like.
if you've seen Rick and Morty, think Operation Phoenix. I hate admitting I'm a Rick and Morty fan, but whatever.
Okay, I love Rick and Morty, but
me too, but it's just the fan base is
understand,
insufferable.
like it's like the stereotype of what that means. But I like Dan Harmon writing. But
Oh, same
just as a side note, I recently did a Community rewatch. Very, very fun.
Love that show.
First season's
But-
amazing.
Everything you just said is 10 times more interesting than anything in this movie.
Yeah.
Like all of that lore you just described, like I wish any inkling of that was in this movie, and that the passion you had describing that felt like more passion than anyone had making this movie, because it was
Thank you.
like, oh, you sound like you know what you're talking about, and it sounds like there are rules. Whereas in this, it's like there's a dagger and it matches up with wreckage that would never move in an ocean, and it's like that's just basic physics and argue like what that it doesn't. Why is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
My headcanon is that some guy the Sith person who made the Sith dagger millennia ago had a Force vision,
and that's how he made
that's
the
how he
knife.
made the map. I put more thought into it than the people who wrote this movie did, but
Yeah.
whatever. That's a
I feel
common
like
thing
if
in our
JJ
podcast.
heard that, he'd be like, "Oh, that's good," and he's like writing it down real quick. Like,
Please tell me more.
that's what I had too. But what else did we both have?
Hey,
I just wanna-
JJ, if you're listening to this, you're a hack. I don't care. I don't care.
Really, I was gonna say
Hey,
like my
JJ, if
fee-
you're listening to this, hire me. I need the money, man. I'm sorry.
that's what I was gonna go for. Like my consulting fee is
You have good
$69
you have good
an
ideas.
hour.
You don't know how to end shit, JJ. Please. I like
I
your
think
intros.
Visually,
You need
his movies are fun too. Like,
Yes.
I
They're
don't
good
think
visual.
he's-
Okay.
They're fun to look at.
I prefer Ryan's cinematography and mise en scène and like the red and white on the sand and all that stuff. But I like that first Star Trek movie. Okay, it doesn't really feel like Star Trek. It feels more like Star Wars, but at least it is a functional action sci-fi adventure. You know, like
Yeah. For
Whereas
sure.
this one, I'm just like, as a basic movie, I'm having a hard time following
Mm-hmm.
this and understanding what I should care about.
Yeah.
All right, let's
me-
hear these
yeah.
fixes.
Sorry.
I want to.
So let me explain Exegol. So Exegol, it's the secret library.
Right.
Sith lords, they like to come here, deposit all of their knowledge for when they actually rule the galaxy. You know, it's gonna be so hard to remember everything. So it's just like little sticky
Right.
notes. They download
It's their
their minds.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. And like, you know, if Sith were to die, you know, somehow we can get it figured out, or they can just come here and learn from all our hard work. But you know, it's definitely gonna be me later. At this point I called him Palbot, but Darth 3PO, he was a droid who was serving Darth 3PO, he was like servicing Exegol. No one's been here for like a generation or two. It's really boring. So eventually he downloaded the mind of Palpatine. I'm using he, him pronouns, but you know, you get the point. He downloaded Palpatine's
So he's a
memories.
protocol droid who works at the library and
Yes.
is like finds a record, a digitized record of his brain or something, and
And
like,
he's just like,
absorbs
yeah,
his
why not?
consciousness.
Yeah, he was like really smart. I like being really smart. We're gonna go along great. And he downloaded Palpatine's brain because Palpatine has always been so strategically minded. And this
Right.
Palpatine was like, I'm going to be evil and tell you all about it. Ha 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 ha.
That's one of my biggest like problems is that he
Mhm.
has this secret plan, this secret fleet, and the first
But he
thing
screams
does
about it in the
is
first 5
suddenly
minutes.
reveal it to everyone. Why?
Mhm.
If you had a
He's
secret
not a
fleet,
floater.
find the right. He's a plotter. That's like the whole prequels. Is like
Mhm.
he's the only one with like a very coherent vision, and he gets his way basically. Like,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
plays the field. He plays both sides.
Are you also
It's
thinking?
Always Sunny?
I was thinking the same thing. Like I play
Right,
both sides.
I've been listening.
I always
Yeah,
come
I
out
play
on
both
top.
sides. That's why I'm top.
Okay, I haven't
Yes,
seen
yes.
It's Always Sunny.
Well,
Okay.
that's they referenced it a lot on their podcast too. I've been listening.
Oh,
to
I
it
haven't
a
listened
ton.
to the podcast yet. Oh,
It's
sorry.
so
Let's see.
Yeah.
good. It's so.
The film starts off in that same way, like Kylo, he's fighting Darth 3PO. He's like, all right, it's finally time to begin my machinations. And he sends some kind of signal out to Kylo Ren because he senses, like, or he gets some kind of, he finds out somehow. I'll fix it in post. JJ will do it.
Somehow,
I don't know.
Palpatine sent the signal.
Somehow, Darth 3PO is like, Kylo, you seem like a really evil guy. May I use you as a puppet? But he doesn't say that. He's like, oh,
Right.
I have powers and knowledge if you can just find a way to enter Exegol. Because Exegol, there's two holocrons to find it, but with the rule of two, you can't trust anybody. So there's one key, and that one's lost. So can you find it, and please let me in? I have a lot of cool toys. It's gonna be great. We're gonna
Let me in or let me out?
come in, and I can come out.
Oh, okay.
But he is a protocol droid. I don't think. Yeah, he wants to like help Kylo, but he also, I don't know if he fully wants to do it himself. I'll figure it out.
Okay, fine.
Let me see. The resistance is aware that something wrong. I'll keep the spy. Sure, fine, why not? But they have no idea what Darth Palpatine is. They just know, like, okay, there's some chatter about finding a knife. There's something bad. I think what's gonna happen is Darth 3PO sends out like some kind of. He doesn't send technology. I think that's what freaks them out the most. Like, Hector mentioned, there's a guy in KOTOR 2,
Yeah.
and his like special evil force ability is to like suck up the force energy of an entire planet, and 3PO sends the information on how to do that to Kylo, so he does like some kind of minor version.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You're
And
making him go full unforgivable here.
well, not fully like a
That's
whole planet, but
cool.
just like some kind of like
That's
dark
like-
force thing.
See, that solves a problem I was having in my rewrite, which is like you want something big like that. That's like a Death Star, but for God's sakes, not a Death Star. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, planet killer base, sure, that's like a little bit more scary than a Death Star or something. I don't know, but like each Star Destroyer is also a Death Star is just kind of like it's not exciting.
It takes the
at this
power
point.
away from the Death Star, and it takes the power away from the Star Destroyers. So I was
The
thinking,
idea that he can
like,
absorb the force from an
Yeah.
entire planet's creatures or whatever, that's awesome. That's something we haven't seen before.
originally, Hector told me about that one. My original idea was like doing some kind of force ability to awaken like force-like abilities in people, but it turns them into mindless zombies.
Oh God, Star Wars has
Like
zombies too. You could do
thralls.
that. Oh, you could do that. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
either way, some bad thing, but it's not technology, and it freaks out the Resistance. Leia has been working on rallying the people after what happened in 8. She's like, no, we need to like strengthen our ties. We need the galaxy to really come together. So I'm going to go work on that. So she is not on screen at all, except for one scene. That will come in later.
Thank you. That's a good fix.
And
And she says
Rose,
something like, always trust a droid. And you're like, yes, Leia, I will always trust a droid. You were always meant to say that here.
yeah, immediate payoff the next planet over.
Yeah,
Rose,
right.
yeah, so when Leia goes off, Rose is like, I want to help Leia. I want to inspire hope in the galaxy. Because that's what she did in the last movie. And I feel like that is
Yeah.
a fitting way for Rose to go. Rey has been sitting behind, like, she wants to help, but I feel like she's feeling a little too responsible for being the last surviving apprentice of Luke. So she's been poring over these texts, and she's not like a studious person. She's like, I don't know, maybe a little ADHD, trying to figure out how to do a sword. She's not a sword gal, but she's like trying to force herself to be something that she's not. And she's like poring over these books, and she's hating it. Finn will occasionally like poke his head at like, hey Ray, how you doing? Can we talk? Can you show me that cool book? And she's like, not. She's feeling a little self conscious, so she's like, no, please leave. But he's just kind of like, yeah, she'll like force push him away. I don't know. We get the
Stand in my
drama.
room.
See, actual like cattiness.
Yeah.
It's coming in. But eventually it's like, oh, there's this, we're hearing like crazy force stuff. Ray is like, shit, where have I heard that before? She pours through the books. We get a library montage. I don't know. She opens the book. She sees like she starts reading about Luke's journal entries about what we know about the Sith. She learns about the rule of 2. She hears about this creepy knife. She hears about something about an exegol. She's not fully sure. This knife is like the key to a lot of evil Sith stuff, and this kind of screams evil Sith stuff. So she's gonna go off and figure this out. She's gonna get the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she's going by herself.
Yeah, I want that. Like, I'm going alone. Yeah, you're going alone. We're coming with you.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's still there.
Yes.
Okay.
They go, I want it to happen kind of the same way. Hector doesn't like the force healing. I like the force healing. My interpretation is, it's like broken force. Like, you can do it. It's not how it's meant to be done. So there's going to be like unintended consequences.
Something felt off about it for me too in the movie. I'm like, why haven't we like seen this before?
Yeah.
Necessarily. Yeah. It felt like a new rule that it didn't, it wasn't like, it wasn't bad. It was just like something's off. Like it felt like it hadn't been justified.
Because then because here's my reasoning for why I don't like it comes down to episode 3. Anakin is the chosen one. He's the best, the most powerful Force user. He's conceived of the Force. So why can't he heal Padme? The whole point of
because she had a broken heart.
No, but like, okay, what was Palpatine's allure? I will help Darth Plagueis. Yes, thank you. I love the I used to memorize the copy.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Darth Plagueis the Wise. His whole reasoning to get Anakin to join him was, my master could heal anyone.
But doesn't that make it even more tragic?
Right.
Like, Anakin was so tunnel vision. He couldn't see his own power. He felt so inferior. He went off.
Was that in canon? Was that real?
Yes.
Or was that just a lie that Palpatine told him?
The old book, according to the old books, it was the Darth Plagueis books, it was supposed to be canon. I never fully finished the Darth Plagueis book, but yes.
So, I have a question, which is that I think in KOTOR, there are like light side powers and there are dark side powers. And like, if you're attuned to one or the other, you have access to those powers. So when I see, like, in this movie, Rey shoots force lightning, I'm like, would she have access to a power that comes from hate if she didn't really have hate in her heart? And, like, nothing in the past 2 movies, like I feel like she could have trained to do that, but it felt weird to me that she's just, like...
I think the implication that they were going for was, like, oh, because she's a Palpatine, she's, like, predisposed to the hate, and, like, her genealogy is what allows her that lightning bolt. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
I mean, I understand that sort of, but like I think the problem with the central crux of this that and no one ever says is that like we already had this conflict in a more direct way with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, am I evil too because my dad is evil? Like that whole thing. And it's like, no, you're not inherently. You might have the propensity, you could potentially be, but we know that light has the power to win out. It
Yeah.
could go either way. We know that from
Mm-hmm.
the prequels too. So it felt like I understand why she would be insecure about that. I don't understand why Luke, even as a ghost, was never like, I had the same issue with my dad, and like, you're fine,
Yeah.
you're gonna be fine. Like,
Yeah,
I,
you
I
have
feel like,
grandfather issues. I have daddy issues. Let's
right,
talk.
exactly. It feels like, yeah, it felt strange to me, and I also don't mind the idea that Rey has some untold power that other Jedi do not have that might be unique to her
Mm-hmm.
or for some reason. I don't mind that. I don't even mind the idea that like Palpatine has this lightning power that few others have. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind. I don't mind the idea that certain Jedi can gain access to this thing. It just felt like,
Out of left field.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
It
keep in
should have
mind,
happened a movie or two ago.
keep in mind, I don't hate Ray. I actually really like Ray.
I love
It's just that
her potential. She had so much
she,
potential.
well, yeah, but also just
I
like I
love
felt like
Daisy. I mean,
Yeah.
the movies were giving her too much like toys, and the Force healing was just kind of the worst of it to me.
Yeah. She kind of felt a little more girl bossy than like the
Like,
well,
the Wonder Woman trench scene, you know what I mean?
oh, I love that scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
same
like
here.
but it's also like Diana earned that. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
And Rey
we
didn't
see
get to earn that, and
it's a
it
long
frustrates
movie
me.
and we see why she can do this thing. But like I think what doesn't make sense is that we see okay, this is something I was thinking about with this movie is that end of Empire Strikes Back, Luke's at his lowest point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just lost his hand. He just found out his dad is the worst guy ever, as far as he knows. And like when we see him again, he's in a completely different place. He is calm, collected, focused, so charismatic and suave. He's no longer the whiny kid from Tatooine. He is legit a Jedi master. And we're like, what happened? And you're like, oh, he trained more with Yoda. That was set up. This is what happens we've done this time jump. We've done a time jump in this movie where no such thing has happened. Rey is
Mm-hmm.
still incredibly insecure. Everyone's like, you're the chosen one, but she doesn't seem to like if she had some magic healing power, I feel like she should be in a better place with her force mastery. And like
Yeah.
again, I wasn't that impressed in Last Jedi when she lifted a bunch of rocks. That's not that interesting to me. Seeing her floating around with a bunch of rocks now, I'm like, what is with her and the rocks?
See,
like I get lifting rocks is a cool idea for like Yoda to do and stuff, but like it's not. You've got a whole galaxy of fun stuff you could do, and they're like, we need more
Mhm.
rocks in this. Rocks is
Well,
like the core to Star Wars.
okay. I'm gonna try and keep a short tangent. I don't think it was the rocks necessarily. It's that she was struggling so much to actively use the Force, and then this moment she was finally able to do it. So it was kind of the the
Well,
journey for her. Yeah,
functionally I understand it in the narrative of eight.
yeah,
I understand why it works. I just think that like there's so many cool, like
yeah. Been there,
legit
done that.
cool
Okay, yeah.
moments.
No, I see what
I,
you
I
mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just think visually as a third act moment, like comparatively, Ray is the hero of your movie, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you've just shown me the coolest thing ever with these speeders on this red dirt. Visually, it's the coolest thing ever. And also the fight sequence in the Snoke room is one of the coolest visual things ever.
True.
And I think because Ryan is so good at these like beautiful looking shots, like her just doing some stuff with rocks, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like I know you can do even better. I'm like, I'm spoiled at that point. I
Okay,
want
Yeah.
something
gotcha.
even crazier.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not that narrative wise it makes total sense.
Yeah.
It solves that problem of that thing. I'm just like, this is the big moment at the end of the movie, and I felt like, oh, you already showed me cooler stuff I was expecting. I'm spoiled now. That's sort of
Yeah.
that was where my headspace was at. But
Gotcha.
all I'm saying is like she could. I think it might be an interesting fix if she has a Luke like jump and it is at a better place with this, with her powers or her mastery, because it does seem like out of left field with the healing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
could she always do that? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna retcon that. When she goes to heal the worm, she's like, wait.
JJ, no,
Yeah.
you can't heal on everything.
Well, no, it's just like, wait.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I think I can do something, and she tries it, and they're like, "How did you do that, Jedi? Don't do that." She's like, "Fuck if I know. It kind of just
Yeah,
happened.
right. Yeah,
I'll figure
I
it out
don't know.
later."
Yeah, right. I just,
Oh, that's
I
weird.
mean, that makes more sense to me if she has like untold powers she doesn't understand or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that, it makes sense to me. Yeah, it just feels like I think what happens when you see her heal that worm snake thing
She seems so confident,
is
like she's done it a billion times, but like, when the fuck did you have time to do
yeah,
that?
and it just makes you think. It makes you think to every Star Wars fight before, and you're like, could they have used
Why
that
didn't
power there?
Exactly.
Like
Why didn't she heal Han?
it
Why
makes
didn't
you
she?
retroactively think of like
Yeah.
Anakin like with no limbs and be like, could he have regrown limbs there? Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
he's like
The
when else
chosen
could
one
we
is
have
secretly a
used this?
starfish.
It's Starro the Conqueror, my hero. Um,
Oh man, that's a good
Or a
This is
movie.
Star Wars.
butterfly,
No, this
either
is
way.
Patrick.
Oh God, Ruthie. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So
So
you see, the
yeah.
movie should have been a lot better. What? I don't get it.
Yeah, that kind of happens, but yeah. I think the Chewie thing, the only thing I'd change with the Chewie thing is, again, instead of like Rey doing the Force thing and freaking out, I'd say it was a Kylo thing, and she gets pissed off.
Oh, Kylo does the lightning.
Well, no, Kylo doesn't do lightning. Kylo does like the dark Force thing, the Sith thing,
Oh, okay.
and Rey has only ever experienced Sith stuff in like a very academic sense, and she's always been like in a very minority, a very oppressed, like I've always been the downtrodden in my life, and now that I have a modicum of power, like a part of her's like, I want that, I want to be powerful, I want to be rich, I want to lead people, but another part of her is like, what the fuck, you have so much power, you could do so much good, and you just choose to be an asshole. Like, you choose to ruin so many lives. I think, like, the injustice of it all, that's, like, her emotional crux. Because I'm gonna get rid of the Palpatine stuff. She's still a nobody, but it's the fact that, like, there are nobodies and there are somebodies. That's what's driving her hate.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
You just said something that I thought might be interesting. I don't know if you agree or disagree with this, but like it's terrible to unceremoniously kill Chewie, right?
Mhm.
But to see if there could be an interesting game in this movie with Kylo doing what the Emperor does in Jedi, which is trying to bring the dark side out of her. To see if it was Kylo who killed Chewbacca in front of Rey, just like I don't even
Mhm.
care. Like that's my dad's friend. Whatever. I don't even fucking
That's my
care.
uncle.
And just to see her flip out at him to drive her into like I feel like if that's another big thing I have in this movie. It's like I don't really get what Kylo wants after the end of 8, which I felt like was like I want to be by your side, Rey, but I still want this power that I've accrued already.
It's,
I want both
yeah.
those things. So
Mhm.
it
It's
feels
still
weird
kind
to
of there,
me
but
that he's like on some Sith murder
yeah.
spree at the beginning or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't get what his motivation is. And he's like one of the more interesting characters in this trilogy. So I feel like I should know exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
And at no point in this movie is it clear to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100% agree.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I'd want Chewie to die in that
I don't want
thing.
Chewie to die. I don't want
Well,
anyone
yeah,
to
like,
die.
for sure, but like in my
I guess
fix, like,
Leia, because it just makes sense, but like
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Either way, like, same kind of outcome. It's like, oh shit, well now they have the knife. We need to figure out a bypass. C3PO, he read the thing. Let's go see if we can jailbreak this robot. Oh, instead of him like saying like, "Oh, it's illegal. I can't read it to you. I'm going to go to Old Republic jail." What happens is he scans the knife, and because Exegol is like a high-tech library, it's not the rewrite isn't from Babu Freak resetting his mind. No, the rewrite is it's Sith malware.
Oh yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think I told you, Han, in the behind the scenes, but yeah, like he scans the knife. He's like, "Yes, I know the location. Oh, who are you? Hello, I am C-3PO, Cyborg Relations." So when they go to
I feel like he
Kijimi,
should
it's
become evil C-3PO and just start trying to choke them. And they're like, what the hell are you
well, I
doing?
already
Just
have a
slap
dark.
them around.
I already have a
So many
dark
dark
3PO.
droids.
Yeah,
You
Right.
you
can
have.
just attack the
Double dark
evil
3POs.
droids. But yeah, it's like,
Crush,
oh shit.
kill, destroy. He just sounds like a 50s sci-fi robot.
Make him Australian, not British.
Oh no!
Oh no, he's the exact opposite of a British person, an Australian. Throw
I will
another
put you on
prawn
the
on the
barbie.
barbie. Yeah, exactly. I'll feed you to my dingoes, my evil Sith dingoes.
I
Oh
try.
no.
This is becoming like one of our movies now.
Scanning the knife, they have to go to Kijimi because they have to restore C-3PO to who he was.
Is Poe still a drug
No,
runner?
no,
Basically.
I thought that was a horrible
Yeah,
stereotype
make
for
the
Latino
make
people.
the first Latino guy a drug runner. That's great.
I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
even think about that. That's
No,
hilarious.
I'm
Yeah,
Latino.
great
I'm Puerto
job.
Rican, so that's why it sucked.
Yeah, right.
Well,
It
I
fucking
imagine
sucked for
that's
me.
not.
It was so no. I love
3 steps
Poe. I fucking
forward,
love
4
Oscar
steps
Isaac.
back.
I know he's more. I think he's Spanish, not Latino, if I remember
Is
correctly.
he like, yeah?
But like, it's the
Either
whole
way, it's
point,
the principle
though.
of the
It's the
thing.
Yeah,
principle.
that's
Like,
frustrating.
No, in
Dios
my
mío.
in my mind, Poe's background is he grew up on Yaren, like the forest trees, whatever it was, like in the original plan for it. He was on Kijimi for resistance business, and he had a chance to help people, but he didn't help people as much as he probably should have because he was working on resistance stuff, not on like people helpy stuff.
So he goes.
So they go to, but that's how he knows Babu Freak and Zori,
Okay.
and then they can still Zori and he can still kind of be like, like kind
Will
of
we?
pissy
Won't
at each
we?
other.
Yeah.
No will we won't we with Zori with Poe. We get will they won't they kind of like flirty, ooh, googly eyes at each other between Zori and Rey. Zori gives me like strong like I'm gonna have a crush on Rey energy.
Yeah, that's my fix too. Is Poe's backstory should be he ran a gay nightclub and he was also a tailor who was constantly putting jackets on people and going, and just sort of biting his lip, just like he does in Force Awakens.
Okay, I'm glad we all saw the lip bite. I'm glad we all saw that lip bite.
It's not just one moment. That's his whole thing. He's worked for like he worked for the Empire. That's why he has a sad backstory. He was the men's warehouse for the Empire for formal events, and he constantly was like, "You're gonna like the way you look," and they were always slapping him around. And he's like, "Fuck this! I'm joining the Resistance." And he just also happened to be really good at flying.
And then Poe's like finally like, oh thank you, and Finn Finn's like, oh thank you, and Poe's like, oh no, I'm in love. Oh
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Andy
That
looks
was
good
the
in my
other-
jacket.
I was like, well, as much as I hate all like the fan servicey Tumblr nonsense online, that's like everyone's gay and they're all in love all the time. I'm like, having Poe be gay would at least be more interesting than anything he has to do here. You know what I mean? Like he has no romance, no intrigue, no
Oscar
like,
Isaac
really
There's
anything.
a lot of subtext. Though,
No,
between the
Oscar
two
Isaac,
actors.
I think, did say he was playing him as gay for Finn.
Yeah, especially
from the beginning.
Yeah,
That lip bite was the biggest. That lip bite in Nate was like the biggest hint. Like I picked up on. I'm like,
Oh, boy.
oh no.
It felt like a little subtle like thing. I mean, I love Oscar Isaac. I think like whatever his choices are great. Except I guess they fly now is my only complaint.
Yeah.
I definitely get rid of that line because I think they've always flown. But
Yeah,
They have
that's
since
the
the
other
Clone
thing.
Wars. They have since the Clone Wars.
yeah,
It's like, I'm pretty sure I flew around in Battlefront when I played
Yeah,
it on the
you do.
PS2. It's like, okay, whatever.
Oh, so Rey, because they don't fully know what's going on, Rey has one of those dyad moments with Kylo. I don't know, I guess it's on Kijimi, but before they have the dyad moment on Kijimi, there's a dyad moment, and she finally figures out, like, Kylo is looking for some kind of, like, transportation thing, and he's thinking Death Star. I'll keep that in mind for later. I'm just gonna tuck that in my back pocket, because the knife, it has nothing to do with the Death Star. It's just like, pick up the knife, I'm just going to get my groceries, get a knife, get a holocron, go to Exegol. But yeah. They go
How
to
disappointing would it have been if it would just been a butter knife, like a Sith butter knife, and they all looked like that? That's like such a Ryan Johnson troll. It's like, you were nothing. Oh, and this knife? Simply for butter spread. We have plenty of it on our planet. Poor scavenger.
it's like the toast knife from Hitchhiker's Guide. Like, oh, you thought it was a dangerous dagger?
Yeah, right.
It perfectly
Exactly.
makes my toast.
You would though.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they go to the Death Star planet. All of that happens. I don't think I want to change too much there. Yeah,
I
fine,
think
sure.
you fixed like it's the last bit's better, the third's better.
Yeah, the last
Cut
thing I
out the
think.
strobe light, please. The strobe light
Yes,
drove me
that
crazy.
hurt. I have
It's
Uh,
like, why
sensitive
why
eyes.
this choice? Like, what visual director is like, I want them to have a headache? Evil means
or
having a
in the
headache.
case of the people I work with, actual seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy choice to make. Like, if anyone's photosensitive, like, why?
The only thing I'd change is I mentioned earlier, put a pin in it. Leia's only going to be in one scene. The scene that she is in, will like Rose is like, Leia, what are you doing? And she's like, hold on, I have to go talk to somebody. I need to be really careful. I only get one shot at this, and if it goes wrong, something bad will definitely happen. So, Kylo and Ren are fighting, or yeah, Kylo and Rey are fighting, and the same thing happens where she calls out like Ben, and she goes out, she touches his face, and he's distracted. Rey, not realizing that Leia is using Force to kind of sort of be there, but like Luke, but she's not quite doing it the same way,
Mm-hmm.
stabs through Leia's Force.
Oh fuck. Oh
And remember, I
god.
said,
If anything goes wrong.
if anything goes a little wonky, weird stuff might happen. Rey, in her anger and her hatred, kind of, I don't know, like stabbed herself.
Kills Leia.
In a way, she kind of killed
Oh my
Leia as
God.
well as stabbing. Yeah, I know. I went really dark. I'm not usually this dark, but I was like,
No.
no, the irony.
Every time she does it, it throws me off.
And yeah, I think I'd keep it pretty much the same way. The only thing is, like, I don't know, I would have liked it if there was somehow, if we could keep Ben alive. I like the idea of, like, him being like, I liked his character arc in that part that you love so much, Matt. I wanted to see it progress. I wanted him to be like, Rey, I'm not trying to be perfect for you. I'm just trying to not be a shitty person anymore. Like, I'm gonna figure myself out. I liked kissing you. We can do that later. That's step 2. Let me figure out my step 1. Because I wasn't like a Raylo girl, but like I can get there.
I wanted to see him somehow join the team. And that was like, I didn't fit that in my fix, but because I wasn't sure how to do that with these parts. But I thought that would be drama wise interesting because it's like Rey has reason because of their connection to want to trust him. But of course, the other guys are like, no way. This dude is like literally a mass murderer. Like, so it's, but I thought the idea of pitting them together against some bigger threat somehow would be interesting.
Yeah,
Although
it would be.
I don't fully trust him. I don't think he can fully get there, like in the scope of how much movie there would be left. But I feel like he might if there weren't some bigger forces at hand or something.
You could have him instead of going straight to Exegol. He like there's the big thing, the co-generals thing. They're like, I don't know, how are we gonna get to Exegol? Like right before Rey's signal pops up, Kylo comes in. He's like, "Hey, I know this is weird. Come on, give me a second. I know, shock. Ooh. I had a big change of heart, a big deal. I got stabbed. Let's go to Exegol. I still have a wayfinder, or like I know the way. I've been there. Don't worry, I got this."
Wait, so what was the key?
What?
What was the key?
Oh, so the key is Rey goes to Exegol. She's got the knife. She's got the holocron. She's just gonna go in there and she's just gonna like go ham and like again.
Is the
hate.
knife the key?
The knife is the key. She just goes up, stab, door
Okay.
opens. Darth 3PO is
Gotcha.
just like, oh yes, now I can go out and I can start doing my evil robot things. And like Rey is just like going ham, tearing through. I'd like her to find something like a polearm lightsaber in there, and that's where she finds her stride. Like she's like, this is a weapon I like. Again, I have power, but the power is from bad things. but she uses that to start like destroying the. I don't know, something like that.
Okay, so the end of the movie is there's no as much of a big bad as much as they're just destroying the last remnants of the
I
Sith.
think there would be some kind of big bad. Like, you do have to get rid of Darth 3PO because he has a lot of evil knowledge and he will, like, broker it to anybody. I feel like when I originally pitched it to you, just as we were watching it, the vibe was Yes Man from Fallout New Vegas, who was programmed who cannot
Yeah,
say
sure.
no to anybody. So yeah, he's like, oh, you want to be evil? Oh, good. I like being evil.
can't
Let's
they
be evil.
So I'm not trying to shit on it. It's really good. But can't they just decapitate Darth 3PO and then it's over?
But they still have the library and there's still other bots. Can they trust it? Like, I think it's
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
Now,
I think
gotcha.
there's still like there's a lot of like Sith stuff around. It's just like, oh god, they're robots. They can share this data. How do we make sure it's gone? And I think the robot. Oh,
I'm sorry, but I kind of have that same issue that you just brought up with this current movie too, which was that like I'm like, wait, who's controlling the like? What does the fleet have to do with Palpatine on the ground? Like, is he like electronically stuck to the fleet? Like, what does that have to do with him? You know, like, is he simultaneously commanding the fleet, or is like that second in command guy in charge? Like, I didn't really understand like what the connection between those two things was.
tenuous. It was tenuous.
Yeah, it was tenuous. Okay, great. Yeah. And I also didn't understand like he's like I wanted you to strike me down. I want you to kill me. It's like, well, why didn't you just let her then? Why did you tell her that? Now she's not going to want to do that. Just sit there and she'll come in and fucking kill you because you've already convinced her to do that. And also, in the end, that's what she does do.
Yeah.
So it's like, why didn't his plan come to fruition?
Oh, no, I can explain that one.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
That one's easy. No offense, sorry, I'm not trying to say what you're
I would love an answer.
Okay, so his whole thing was strike me down in hatred. Kill me. Right. Do it. Do it. Also, he didn't say do it.
That's an immediate fix.
He didn't say do it like do it. It's the perfect meme. Just give us that. Just give us that. So he didn't say do it. He said do it. But
do it.
So he wants to be struck down in anger. But if Rey, when she killed him, it wasn't in hatred and anger. It was just in being a good Jedi who defeats evil. There was no hatred in that moment. So she can't
like become all or.
There was no hate in her heart.
For all the Sith to
be in her by killing.
Yeah, so she, it was basically like she's going to kill him in anger, and then like, hey, killing in anger's kind of fun, and then just keep at it.
She would become dark side by killing him.
Yes.
Okay.
And because he's already so powerful, his like evil soul would infect her. So basically,
it's the same thing as End of Jedi.
Yes.
But they're just complicating it with I am all the Sith and I am all the Jedi, which makes it seem more complicated. Okay, well that's so crazy that it's the same exact rules as that movie because there's so many other things that make it confusing. I don't understand why they weren't just like remember in Jedi. Like JJ's favorite thing is remember these movies you like. Why didn't he do that when it was actually working? I'm so angry. I remember. Oh yeah, I remember. Remember Chewbacca? Oh yeah, I remember.
Ruthie, have you seen that South Park bit or no?
No.
Okay.
Remember berries. Little berries that just make you happy because they're full of nostalgia.
But yeah, that's pretty much my fix.
Okay. That's good. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
Also, damn, that was dark. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Fuck. No, it's brilliant, but just fuck.
Yeah, in mine, I just had them sing a happy song and everything worked out. Why you're so mean? I'm just kidding.
Did you recreate the Christmas special?
Yeah, I did. Okay, when I finally watched the Christmas special and Carrie Fisher sings as Princess Leia, it literally broke my brain. I'm like, this is the greatest thing. I mean, it's like seeing her sing a happy Christmas song as Leia is like your reward for sitting through the rest of that special.
It's like the bonus deleted, like in the video game, like you find the secret ending and it's just like something stupid. Yeah. Have you seen
It's incredible.
Have you seen the crazy, like, there's an unedited, I wish I knew German, but, like, there's a thing where it's like...
We have a podcast for that.
Oh, yeah!
Learn German through music podcast will teach us.
Yeah! But there's one where it's like, Luke is saying something in German, and it is Mark Hamill, and his stipulation was, like, this will never be aired in the United States, but he's doing, like, some embarrassing song and dance, and it's some kind of German ad, and I'm like,
Oh my
God, I wish I knew German. I love ads like this. It's so bad.
It was a sketch show.
translated.
I think it was a sketch.
Oh, it's a sketch.
It was
I
a
thought it was
sketch
an
of
ad.
the German show, I think.
Gotcha.
I remember him
It's
talking
out on the
because
internet now.
the rule was technically never broken, but someone put it on the internet.
Someone put it on Tumblr.
Yeah,
And he's
right.
like-
He could not have foreseen the internet.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So who wants to go? Just I know you said, but just for cameras, for the audience sake. And
Habit. Yeah.
do you want
Would you like
you
to go?
you go first or I go first?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to part 1 of our first two-parter. We had a lot of fun talking with Matt Shore from Made Up Movies podcast. Give him a listen, he's hilarious. And we just kind of kept most of it in. It was kind of like a fun, kind of free-form discussion tangent on just Star Wars. And I thought it was fun to keep. So, yeah, part 2 should be out by next week if everything goes right and my computer doesn't futz up. Alright? Have a good week, everyone, and I'll see you again next week for part 2.